Welcome, everyone. It's good to see some of you again. We're glad you joined us for another chat around career reinvention. So hopefully you're in the right place. Debbie, good to see you again.
Hi.
Hi there.
Good to be here.
Yeah, welcome everyone that's coming in. Some of you may want to make sure that you have connected with Shannon because today we're playing bingo. And you'll want a bingo card so you can play. We're playing for prizes, so of course you want to win. So make sure you have your bingo card. I have a copy of all three right here. I won't be playing, but I wanted to keep them in front of me so I could see what you guys were playing off of. And these were made courtesy of the great genius inside of Hillary's brain. Yep. It takes a special skill to make a bingo card and to make the entire game. So that's what you're in for. While we're waiting for some people to come on the call, I want to share some statistics, and I'm curious if any of these resonate with any of you. So nearly 9 out of 10 people, that's 87%, who are under the age of 25. Now, some of you may say, well, I'm not 25, but listen, this may apply to you. So 9 out of 10 people under the age of 25 plan to reconsider their current job situation and potentially change their career path. This was in 2022. This was last year. So already the younger generation that is entering the field of being a worker and being an employee, they have their first job and they are already planning to reinvent. So it's a mindset that isn't just something that we invented to talk about here today. It's a mindset that's permeating the ever-changing topography of careers. So if you're here for a good reason. Here's another one. A combination of mid-career stagnation and financial stability are leading most people to make a major career change at the average age of 39 years old. So that's when I usually start to see people come into the Soul Salt reinvention. 39, 40, people start to wake up to the fact that they can't do the thing that they've done for years forever. And then after that, it's a reinvention of every 5 to 10 years. And some of the research says that some of us change as often as 4 years. But some of us are making big changes and we want to stay where we are for another 10 years, for a decade. So change is constant. 11% of workers over the age of 50 wish to make a career change. That's pretty big. In a survey of older workers, 82% of respondents reported having successfully switched to a new career after the age of 45. More older adults who make career changes later in life were successful in their new jobs. 80% of people over the age of 45 have considered a change in their career, but only 6% of them have pursued that change. So some of you on here are interested in it. I don't know if there are any questions or comments that's brought up while we wait for a couple more people to join, but anything that anyone in the audience wants to say about that or ask about that? Yeah, Debbie.
I know that for a while, the statistics were that people would have like sometimes 6 different careers, not just 6 different jobs, but 6 different careers. And I know as a higher education teacher, educator, I would always prepare my students to learn how to learn, because a lot of times you wouldn't have that on the job training that's intensive for, you have to know and learn on your own. And then the other thing I wonder, as I read about things over the last few years, our perspectives have kind of shifted because of the pandemic to look at our own well-being and our lives, and what we want, instead of just going through the motions of getting a paycheck, we want something that is going to be fulfilling and meaningful, I think, is what
Yes.
my thoughts.
No, I agree with you, Debbie. I think that most of us are not settling for just another job. We want something with purpose and meaning that aligns with our core values, right? Yeah, we're seeing heads nod, right? And I'm here to tell you, you can have it. Shannon Judge, Lynn Christian, and Hillary Brandise. Oh, and Aaron Blute, who just joined us. We all are doing things where we earn a living and live our lives by doing the things that inspire us and keep us aligned with our values. And we can't be the only people in the world. We know that. So maybe 20% of the workforce gets to feel that feeling. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, so there are certain strategies and tools that we have learned over the years. We've gained some of these through research, some of them from our own research and from working with clients for a long time on how do you reinvent. And Hillary has taken some of these main concepts and strategies and put them on your bingo card. So is there anybody who does not have a bingo card? All right, looks like everybody. Oh, you need one?
So
all right.
In the chat is the link.
Go to chat, find the link. And when we go there, does it give us a choice? Can we choose one of three?
Yeah.
Yes, there's 3 in the folder. They click on that link. They can choose
All right.
whichever one they'd like.
Okay, pick a winner.
So is
Deb?
anyone here
Yeah.
for the first time? Is there a first Q&A?
Me.
Okay.
Welcome. Do you have, everybody show your bingo card. Who has one?
It's
Awesome.
Wait a minute, no.
And we'll make sure Kim gets one as Kim comes on. Shannon, okay, you've got it digitally. All right. So you can go ahead and follow along. Perfect. Thank you. Shannon D, how many people do we have that sign up for this webinar now?
Over 450.
Woo, those of you who've been following us, we jumped up to 400 and now 425 and now we're at 450. So this goes out to a lot of people. So that's why we ask you it's okay that we share this, because we have a lot of people who sign up for it that can't attend live. And some of that has to do with the fact that this is a global audience that we have now. So some people are asleep. We won't want to wake them up to play bingo. They'll play it vicariously through you the next time they watch this. All right, Hillary, are you ready to play bingo?
I'm ready to play bingo. So I'm going to call out the boxes, but we may do a little interrupting because we might want to have some discussion around it. So we invite you to anytime put a question in the chat. We might address it then or save it for later. And so let's get started. First box, I have goals. Number 2 box.
So did we do the free spice or the free space? Free spice. I like that. So go ahead. If you don't know how to play bingo, make sure you cover the free spice space.
Okay.
And then I have goals is the first one.
Uh-huh.
Is it different than I have written down my goals?
It is.
Okay, so it says I have goals. That's the one. Okay.
I'm going to backpedal on that because I did revise the bingo cards and maybe not my questions here. So let's call it I have written my goals.
I've written down my goals. Okay, so that's permissible for the first one.
Okay. Thank you, Lynn. Number 2. I have let go of old habits.
I love how you're cleverly teaching us how to play the game.
all the skills in the RX for success. Number 3, I have created a visual presentation of my dreams and desires.
Ooh, nice.
I'll keep going. Number 4 I have experienced the value of a reflective practice. Next one, I have carved out reinvention time in my schedule and utilized it consistently for 2 weeks or more.
You can't just have it carved out. You gotta use.
Known as creating space, right, Lynn?
Right.
Next one, I have completed a DISC assessment. Lynn and Shannon, feel free to pause anywhere you want to talk about anything, by the way. If I'm going too fast, let me know.
Well, I think what we could do is just keep playing and then we can go back and talk
Okay.
about why these are important. Is that okay with you guys? Yeah.
Yeah.
So we don't break the
Let's
flow
keep-
of the game.
I like it. All right. Next one, I have created 5 possible selves. I have completed a time management focus course known as Be Focused here at Soul Salt. No, next one is I have completed a reflected best self exercise. Next one is I have completed the core values exercise and know my core values. You notice these aren't in any order like the course is. The next one is I have created new habits. Next one, I have completed the Standout 2.0 assessment.
Ooh, I think we're getting close. I think somebody wins soon.
Okay. I have written or began writing my 100 possibilities. That comes from Lyn's new book, Soul Salt. And I have an accountability partner.
It looks like someone has bingo.
Who has bingo? Whiskey, you have bingo? Yes. Okay.
It's the orange one.
The orange
You have the
one.
orange card.
Yeah. Go ahead and call back. So everybody hang on. Don't pull anything off of your bingo card because we have more than one winner today. Go ahead and go through the squares that you have and Hillary will check you.
Yeah, call back your row.
Wait. There we go. I have completed the Standout 2.0 assessment, completed a reflected best self exercise, and then it's the free spice, which is lovely. And I completed a time management focus course. I have written or began writing my 100 aspirations possibilities list.
Fantastic. Well,
Ta-da.
congratulations. You know, we didn't talk about what the prize was, did we?
We haven't yet,
I have
no?
no clue.
So I'll tell you, Shannon and I are each giving away a coaching session. So we will have you put your email in the chat where we can reach you to
Will do. Lovely.
extend that to you, okay?
Yeah, we'll get that set up. Let's keep going. There's
Keep
gonna be another
going.
winner.
Okay. Let's see where I left off. I have a daily strong start routine. I engage in a journal practice for reflection. I have researched possibilities that align with my interests, values, and strengths. I have outlined my competencies. This is a joyous one. I have made new discoveries. And I have
Oh, we
experimented.
got another winner.
Oh, yay!
Debbie, go ahead. Tell us.
First of all, before I read them off, I have to say I was relieved, Hillary, when you said you were calling out the ones because I thought it was going to be, if you've done these things, I thought, whoa, I am definitely not going to be winning. These are things to learn and do, but I'm not there yet. But
Yeah, because sometimes in the workplace, that's how it's played, right?
I have created a visual presentation of my dreams, desires, made new discoveries, free spice. I like free spice instead of free spice. I have experienced value of a reflective practice. Now that one I actually have done, but researched possibilities that align with my interests, values, and strengths.
Wonderful.
Well done. Well done. Congratulations. Well, let's step back because Debbie, just put your email into the chat and we will reach out to you and get your free coaching session scheduled. Yeah. And let's go to those of you who have been playing. Which of these concepts that are on your bingo card are you curious about? You want to know more information, or why is that important? Or what does that look like in the reinvention process? Do you have any questions about the things you see on your bingo card and how come they are on the bingo card? Take a look at those. Because there is actually a reason, there are probably more than one reason for each of them.
Can you hear me?
Yes, Lisa, go.
Can you elaborate on experimented with a micro project? What specifically is a micro project?
Yeah, that's kind of our own language here. So we are kind of speaking in a vacuum when we leave that out there. So one of the best ways to reinvent is to do some experimenting, to learn and to grow, because believe it or not, the adult human brain learns the same way that a child's human brain does, by doing. And so sometimes we don't know who we are until we can see what we do. Now, that means experimenting, and experiments can be daunting. So if you make a small experiment, a micro project, I'll give you an example. I'm working with a reinventor right now who really wants to bring his art, he draws and illustrates cartoons, into his next career. He does that as a hobby and he wants to know how he can do that. And so a micro experiment is doing a week of cartoons around a topic he's interested in. He's interested in climate change, and he's publishing those on his Instagram. And he's looking to see what the audience response is, what the comments are. And so that's a micro project. The experiment is around, how do I integrate my creativity, my illustrating and cartoon drawing into a future career? And so he's just done a 1 week micro project. It's pretty small, and he's trying that out. Does that make sense, Lisa?
I think that was a great example. Such a good illustration.
Yeah.
Well, Lynn, we've got some questions in the chat.
Okay, curious about creating a visual presentation of my dreams and desires. All right, this is really important. It's 2 steps. One is, let's talk about your potential. Everybody on this call has potential that we will never access because we have so much of it we can't access in one lifetime. Potential has 2 requirements. One, that you get in touch if you want to reach as much of that potential as possible. 2 requirements. One, you must have some kind of contact with your higher self, meaning your best self. That's what the Soul Salt book is about, is assisting you to discover that, to excavate it and put it in front of you and go, I know pieces of my identity that are my best self. And the other part is, you have to believe that there are dreams out there, possibilities that can come true for you. If you have those 2 elements, you are more apt to reach your potential. And so what we like to do is put those out in front of you. What are your dreams? What are your desires? What do you have out in front of you? Because if you can't see those, it's really hard to reach for them. And so sometimes putting those out in front of us is a way to validate them, get them anchored, and have you start thinking about how can you start applying yourself toward those. The focus management course, we know that there's a certain amount of reinvention that requires that we manage our time, because many of you have another job and you're trying to layer your side hustle of reinvention into an already full life. And so it's not necessarily time management, it's about managing your focus, because where you put your focus is where your future is built. And so I, as a diagnosed ADHD person who used to work for Franklin Covey and couldn't get their time management system to work for me, created a focus management system for myself, and then found out it was helping my clients. So I put it online. And sometimes it's the thing that clients need through reinvention so they can find the space in their lives to focus for a little bit of time every day or every week on their reinvention, so their reinvention happens. And it's not just out there on a dream that says, someday I'll reinvent. So focus management can sometimes play a big role. I have created 5 possible selves. If you
Lynn,
have
can I interrupt and just let
Yeah,
them know
but-
that course is on your site?
The course is on the site. In fact, Shannon D, why don't you put the course out there? You can find it online, but there'll be a link. Thanks, Hillary. Created 5 possible selves. Shannon Judge or Hillary, you guys want to talk to that one? I have an illustration in my book about that one. Do you guys want to talk to that?
Sure, I'll start us off, and maybe Hillary, if she wants to add or continue. So part of reinvention, we find that it's so successful to allow ourselves some space to dream. And coaching reinvention clients, I find this is one area that takes some people some time to get into, just giving ourselves permission to think about the possibilities without clouding that by what's realistic or what seems feasible, or maybe I wouldn't make enough money if I did this, or that those jobs only exist in a different state. So whenever we allow ourselves to think about our possible selves, we encourage you to start out with things that are your passions, things that are your interests. Even if you say, I'm a hiker, I love to hike. I think one of Lyn's, she talks about sometimes, they talk about sometimes, I apologize, are baking. Lyn loves to bake. Other people might love to dance. And you might say to yourself, well, I love to dance, but that's not going to become a career. But putting that down as a possible self is important at the very first stages. And then that can evolve more into, okay, well, I love to dance and I love this and I love that. I've got my possible selves. How could this evolve into maybe an experiment, a bridge job, and potentially eventually a career? Hillary, what would you add?
No, I would like to zoom out on that, because we're seeing evidence of in this reinvention process in life, people that are changing careers. Let me go back to what we said about what we noticed in the pandemic, that we wanted more. And now when we look at those possible selves, we might have one we focus on at a time, but it might be how we want to broaden our life, improve our well-being, and increase all of the things that we do to find deeper meaning in our lives. So it might be one that you focus on, but when you identify those possible selves, chances are there's that person that was in you long ago that you maybe shut the closet door on, or the bedroom door, and put it away. It is there. And you don't have to be just one, but you may choose to just focus on one and realize that as you expand your life, because you're creating a life for improved well-being, that all of those possible selves could come into play at different times.
Well said, both of you. Well said. And this is one reason why I'm actually a fencer and started at age 58. There was always a part of me that wanted to fence. And so I decided no time like the present. And just by fencing, I learn more and experience more that helps my coaching practice. So there are pieces of you and possible selves that don't have to have the burden of being the career or the breadwinner, and yet it augments your life in a way that makes that part of you that earns the living more effective, creative, and satisfied. So there are many, many reasons. We've just touched on just the tip of the iceberg for that one. Let's go to Standout 2.0. There are a lot of Strength Finder assessments. We prefer the Standout 2.0 because it simplifies the process. It's not necessary that you do this, but if you do take this Standout 2.0 assessment, you start to have a language around your strengths. And we don't recommend that you just take it from the report and say, oh, well, I'm a connector, or I'm a relator, and I am a stimulator. What we suggest is you live with those words and your results, and then start to experiment. What would you name it? How would you express that? You know, I've found, because I've written the book, that I'm a connector between people and their coming of self process. And so I got that little bit of a glimpse of what that was from the standout, and then applied it to things I was actually doing. So the standout is something we often have our clients take as an assessment as part of our reinvention. Hillary and Shannon, do you guys want to add to that?
I do, because this was one box I didn't call out, and it is I have observed my strengths in action in my day-to-day activities and perform tasks from them. So what I love about the 2.0 is that they take your personality, your behavioral traits, and then put them into language that are skills, actually skills in the workplace. And when you see your authentic self written down like that, then you can take those strengths and transfer them in your reinvention process, transfer them to a new workplace or a new career. And I love that about the language in the 2.0.
Yeah. Shannon Judge, you want to add anything?
Sure, Hillary, that's so well said. I love that we're all so passionate about the standout. It's effective. It is really a simplified process, as Lynn says. And I found that just by seeing, like Hillary said, those strengths put into words that we might not have even seen in ourselves, we might have known them, but not known how to really name them, that we can really start to develop them just by having that bit of awareness around them. And also through going through the descriptions of your personality types. There are 2 for each person, a predominant one and then a secondary one. You can even sift a lot of that out and use it in cover letters and resumes and in your next job ventures, which I think is exciting.
So
Yes.
it's a book that you buy. You get a code for the assessment that you go online and do, and then they send you your results.
Or if
Still,
you,
right, guys?
or if you sign up for coaching with us, we just give you a link, and you just can go in and take the test.
I know that the author, he was giving the assessment away for free during the pandemic. I don't know if it's still that way on his site.
Yeah. Let's go to the DISC, because we had a question about that. And the DISC is a little bit different. The way I look at the DISC is that it is based on some of Carl Jung's work. And so it has archetypes written into it. I don't use that in the reinvention process as a personality assessment. I use it as a communication style indicator that then tells us a couple of things. One is, well, there are 3 main constructs that we want you to have right off the bat. And you can see them because they're the first 3 main chapters in my book, chapter 3, 4, and 5. And Shannon, you can put the link for the book in here too, if anybody wants to snag that, because it will tie these things together. We want to know what your core value system is so that we know how to be true. We want to know how your inner compass works. We want to know what your strengths are, your superpowers. And also so we can sift those away from pseudo strengths, because most people are working from pseudo strengths. And we explain that more in the book. We also need to know what weaknesses are so we can mitigate against it. Your strengths are no good if you haven't mitigated against your weaknesses. You don't want to focus on your weaknesses and try to make those be the way you lead your career. You don't want to build a career around that or pseudo strengths, but you need to know what they are. That way you can manage against them. And then the next one is unique personal needs. And the DISC shows us indicators of unique personal needs. If you get your need for food and water and shelter satisfied, you're more stable, you're more sane, you're able to lead your life toward a more authenticated version of who you are because you've taken care of the basics. Well, a lot of us walk around with a part of us starving. It looks more like a raisin and not like a juicy grape because it's not getting the juice of life. And it's not because you haven't taken time to identify
the most important customer
personal needs
and say they never received the.
There we go. Somebody's going on and getting the video. You don't understand that there is a personal need that's thirsty, one that's hungry, one that's starved for attention. And if you pay attention to those personal needs, and I'll give you an example, they can be as refined and personal as a thumbprint, like the lighting in the room may be affecting how productive you are. So if that is something that you're sensitive to and you need a certain kind of light to work well, get that light. If you're an individual who needs to be challenged every day and will have a chance to take risks, and some pretty big ones, don't deny yourself of that. Make sure that your work includes those risks and a chance for you to dominate those risks. So those are kind of two polarities of certain needs, but if you don't pay attention to those, your reinvention may put you in a place where you've got to reinvent again quickly because you landed in a place you're not happy at. You're not satisfied at, you're not going to be productive at.
Is that assessment still available on the website, the disc?
Shannon, you'll have to let me know if it is or not. There's several versions of it. We like those that you have to pay a little bit for because your report is more complete and you get more value. But you can pay as much as $15 or as much as $120. I think the one we use in our work is about a $75, $85 investment. So, and you can also order one of those from us separately if you're interested. But that's why we use the disc. We're looking for all the information we can get about your unique identity so that when you reinvent, you're coming from a place that's really solid. It belongs to you and it will keep you in your integrity and on purpose. Okay, did that bring up any other questions?
Hi, Lynn.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm Manali. I'm from India. And
Welcome.
thanks. Yeah, thanks. So I just wanted to add a little bit about what you said about DISC. So as you were explaining the concept, I realized that I have this. So I was going through my horoscope. So in India, you have lots of horoscope, like everybody has their horoscope chart. So I was going through it and I realized that in one of the statements, they said that your home life, if it's well structured, then you could do more, you could have more success at work. So that kind of rang a bell in my mind. And is that a limitation? I mean, I feel that's a limitation with me currently because I do not have a structured home life. And I feel that I always get distracted by people in my house who have different lifestyles. And I kind of have I have a very structured lifestyle. And I feel that since I do not have this structured home balance at the moment, that is kind of restricting me to get a better work life and to get
Right.
a better success. So is that something which is coming, which refers to DISC, what you're saying?
Well, it could refer to the disc, but mostly I think you have a great awareness that your environment is distracting you. And so
Yeah.
one of the constructs in our reinvention work with people is assisting them to find new networks and at least create a small microscopic version of the environment they need where they can reinvent. So we even had one situation where a woman took a bucket of paint and painted
Yeah.
on the floor a square over in a corner of her house, and that was her office and her private space. And when she was there, her family could not interrupt her. And she put a curtain around it, and she created this little bubble where she could go in and work on her reinvention. So sometimes you have to get super clever. We have another person that we've worked with personally that has now reinvented who had to go to coffee shops to do it. So yes,
Right.
your environment can really influence that. And I see Michelle is nodding her head and saying, yes, you get that. Your environment can greatly influence your
And
ability.
I was thinking it was more the unique personal needs that came into play there. What do you need to have more success in your work life, or more balance, or more calmness, whatever it is where you need to thrive?
Right. Understood
Yeah.
now. Thanks.
Thank you for asking. We have another question about take on character assessment. So let me grab my notebook because I'm going to share something. In the world of executive coaching, where we do some of our other work. We do reinvention work, but also each of us here on the coaching staff have executives that we have worked with or we are currently working with. They're all assessments, especially these personality or character assessments, are not created equal. They are not. And I recently finished a course with Tomas Music, who he sometimes teaches out of Harvard. And basically, what we found is your personality is not your destiny. But a lot of these assessments are trying to help you find some of these pieces of who you are, your identity. The DISC and the standout are highly regarded as some of those legitimate tests because they have the rigor and the research behind them. There are others that fit into the class, like the Enneagram, and I know a lot of clients who love that. It is not backed with the research. And so some of the data doesn't support that. So when you are taking some of these assessments, you want to look into what is the science behind them. Even the DISC is sometimes preferred over the Myers-Briggs in the executive coaching because of this sort of rigor and also the application of the reports that you get. So not all assessments are created equal, and some of them are a little more woo-woo, and some of them are really based in science.
I want to jump on that because I would agree with Lynn that you want to look at the empirical studies that are done with them, see what it's based on. I know there's one for the virtue characteristics that is done from University of Pennsylvania. It's the Authentic Happiness website. That website is all assessments. They are all done with research studies behind them. So I consider that a good value, that site, and free.
Yeah, so anything that's data-driven gives you a leg up. Yeah, I think we've given you the nugget there. And also, yes, you can go to the library, you can go to Hubspace, Workspace, you can do the work. It just takes time. It really does take time. Well, I think we have room for one more question if there is something out there that someone wants to ask.
There's one in the chat about creating a visual presentation of dreams and desires and how that works.
I think we mentioned that one before.
Oh, did we? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
we got to that one. No, that was one of our first, but thanks, Shannon, because that's far up there.
Right.
All right. Well, if there's not another one.
Yeah, I was just wondering if anyone has got questions about the reinvention course that's on the site, if they've looked at it, if they are considering it. Any questions about that?
Yeah, we do have a course. You can get one-to-one coaching with us. You can get the course online, and you can also, as we said last time, and we'll continue to say, you are welcome to come into our free seminar here and let us be your community and your support while you're going through reinvention. That's why we're here. We know it can be an exciting space that can also scare the crap out of you. Michelle, you have a question. Michelle, go ahead.
Sorry, I tried to type it in the chat, but for some reason it didn't register. I was just wondering about your thoughts. Often when people are doing these self-assessments and are in this period of considering reinvention, we're not necessarily in the best place in our lives that we've ever found ourselves, or best stage. And often the assessments will ask, like, answer as you currently are, as opposed to answer, I think often the wording is as you would like to be. But I wondered if we were to answer in the version of what we consider our best selves, as we maybe have known ourselves to be in the past when we were feeling in a better place or whatever, would that, or could that not give us better insight into what we would actually like to strive for as we reinvent?
Yes, yes, it can, because your state of mind, if it's currently not that great, it could skew your results. And again, to what we said earlier, that's one reason why we want you to take standardized, because some of the standardized tests will pick up on strands no matter your mindset where you are. And so, yeah, it's not a real cut black and white answer, but Sheldon, did that help?
Yeah, it did. Actually, yeah. So I'll see
You
what the
know-
results are like differently.
Yeah. And I
And,
think you're thinking in the right way. You really are. Yeah. It looks like we've got one more here.
Lynn had,
Yeah.
I had asked Lynn once, because I've taken the disc about 5 different times. I said, how often do you have to take this? She said, every time you change jobs or careers, because the results did differ. The disc is different. So keep that in mind for the disc. Okay.
Yeah. Your
And
environment.
I do have one more thing that I want to share when we wrap up, Lynn. So don't let me
Yeah.
forget. that,
We'll
okay?
go to Kim's question and then let you wrap. How's that? All right, Kim, do you work with our past work experiences? Yes, we do, because some people do want to marry what they've done in the past. And so rather than a complete career reinvention, that may be a recalibration where you can bring your past experiences in. And it doesn't also have to be a recalibration. Sometimes it can be a reinvention. I moved from school teacher to educational consultant to writing curriculum at Franklin Covey. And what all three used was the instructional design that I had learned to do as a teacher. And so sometimes you can bring that all the way through. So there are some strands that can be brought forward, and it's not a cutoff of pieces of you. It's a recalibration or remolding or reinventing, but who you are is still in there. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Let's get ready. Hillary, let's wind this
I
up.
think that was a great question to finish on. I love that. So I wanted to share with you something I got in a documentary the other night. I definitely need to give the individual credit, bless you.
Sorry.
This was from the documentary Stutz, if any of you are familiar with that. And one thing the gentleman said, he's a psychologist. And today, it's about tools. And today, everything we talked about was tools. This is what you will need. I see the heads nodding. What you will need and what you will use. And this will not be just for your reinvention. This will be for the rest of your life. And that's what makes the tools such a wonderful collection. So he said, tools are something that can change your inner state in real time. It takes something that is normally unpleasant and turns it into opportunity. So know that even the time you spent today doing this, you have opened your opportunities for whatever change you desire.
Lots of tools given to you today. Hopefully it's lit a candle in a dark place, or just giving you more affirmation that you're on the right trail. You can earn a living and live your life by doing those things that inspire you. We believe it, we live it, we coach it, and we hope you will get that contagious little bug that believes it too. So thanks for joining us today. Please join us next month again if you would like. And thank you for your questions. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye-bye.